KNS.
Yes.
What's popping, my brother?
Nothing much. And yourself?
Nah, man. I'm chilling with you now.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's it been? Dog, you scarce.
Yeah, I've been scarce.
Too scarce.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Just trying to make this money.
Yeah, ne?
You know.
My pride wouldn't allow me to go look for you. So.
No. No worries. No worries. I know where to find you. I got your numbers, all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, man, before we begin, tell me about your upbringing. Where do you come from? Who are you?
Me? Where do I come from? I'm actually from Limpopo in a place called Mulech.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just on the outskirts of Polokwane. Around about 25 to 30 kilometers from Polokwane, like the city.
Yeah. I'm not from Limpopo.
Oh,
I wouldn't know.
But Polokwane is like the main city. Like, you know, like Gauteng, there's Pretoria, and then there's Joburg. Yeah. So there we have Polokwane. So I live about 25 to 30 kilometers from it. Yeah, so that's where I was born. But then I grew up in Pretoria. I came to Pretoria in, what year was it? Yeah, 1998.
Gee.
Yeah, in March, yeah. I still remember. Yeah, got here, Salvacop. No, it's not what it used to be, but back then it used to be a different space.
Bruh.
You know, it used to be a safer space, you know. We had so many activities to do as kids, you know. We did what kids do.
I really kept us out of trouble, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so what else? Yeah, I'm from a family of 9, 6 brothers and 2 sisters, yeah.
Cha.
Yeah, and then, crèche, primary school, high school, everything, just here.
Yeah.
And then, went to colleges, yeah.
Colleges.
Yeah. I started in Tshwane South College.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ended badly. You know that moment when you finish high school and you just don't wanna
sit down.
Yeah, you just wanna take a gap year. And then at home they were like, hey, go to school. I'm like,
that pressure.
Yeah, that pressure. I was like, hey man, I don't wanna go to school.
Yeah.
You know, so I just eventually went.
Yeah.
For me, it just felt like a waste. Because I never really wanted to go to school. I've never been a person that likes school.
Yeah.
But then, you know, when you want certain things, you know, you just gotta do whatever it needs to be. Yeah, so I went to Tshwane South College and then took a gap year after that. And then, I went back to school again. Yeah, and then 2019, that's when I finished my N6 and now I'm here.
Here you are, sitting with me.
Yeah, so it's been quite a journey.
Dude, like how large is Polokwane?
It's very big. Because there's the CBD side and then there's the suburban side.
How different is it from PTA? I know you haven't been there much, but I'm sure since you go from
I wouldn't
time.
say it's that different. I mean, it's just like Pretoria, you know. You have your local sections like your Sosha, Atteridgeville, Garankuwa.
The CBD? Comparing the CBD. How large
CBD.
is the CBD?
The CBD is big, actually.
Compared to PTA?
Okay, PTA is bigger, but even there, the CBD.
It's
but it's just not as big as PTA.
I remember. How many times did I go to Limpopo? Every time people spoke about Polokwane. I never went there, you remember? Even when I was with you, I was like, I never went to Polokwane. Did we pass there or... I think once when we were returning.
Yeah, when you guys came the first time.
Yeah.
You passed through it. But the second time, we went through Mukopan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never actually went to... Because had we went through Mukopan, it would have been a longer route. So that's why we had to take that other shortcut there.
Yeah, I'm just curious about that city because people are like, Polokwane. I'm like, what is up with the Polokwane?
It's like our mini PTA, you know?
Yeah. Is it developing? I'm sure it is, though.
Yeah, it is developing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a couple of complexes now in a mall there and there.
Man, I saw these pictures, man. Archive pictures of PTA, right? In the 1950s. I saw a few also in the 1980s. Man, you should have seen Pretoria.
Yeah, I've also seen a couple of pictures.
You should have seen
compared
Pretoria.
to what it was. I mean, from dusty to these railways, and then now to this city.
Like,
I mean,
those guys really put in the work. If I'm looking at it, I was like, yeah, the way PTA developed, it's really interesting for me. And I was curious of it because, I'm familiar with Pretoria. I'm always like, particularly Salvokop, like, I want to see images. I don't know where to go, but I want to see like Salvokop back in the day, even before we arrived.
Oh, even before
before we arrived. I want to see, because you'll be surprised how many things change.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Because if you can remember, there on the first street, there used to be a building for the military.
You see, it's not even there anymore. That's why I'm curious. I'm like, I wonder.
And like, when you explain to people that this was a military office or something where the military used to be, people will be like, military here?
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, this place was actually different.
It's just that before the stats, stats cleaned out everything.
Yeah,
you remember when your kids used to go there?
Yeah,
there was also a building that was demolished there.
And to think that even here where the flat is, there used to be a pool.
Yeah, imagine.
Yo.
But that's why I wanna see those. I'm sure you're gonna see something you didn't expect. Like, oh, this used to be here.
Exactly.
Used to be here. So what happened was, I'm watching Who Am I? It's like a while back. I'm watching Who Am I? And then comes that scene, right?
Oh, by the bridge.
By the bridge.
I remember that scene.
Now, almost they did those cut and paste. You know how they edit, right?
Yeah.
You know that from here, it's impossible for him to appear here. But, I'm sure he's just taking those locations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandable when it comes to filming. Yeah, you do that, right? But I was like, I paused it, right? And almost the shot, it's always gonna be blurry when it's moving. If you pause it, suddenly it's blurry, right?
Yeah.
So, gosh, I really wanna see that. Man, I took my time trying to pause, because you can see the bridge, right? When you see that bridge,
you
it enters in Salvokop, there's like these huge trees.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see it. I was like, how I wish I could just. And remember, the movie was out in 98, somewhere there.
Around there.
Yeah. So it was even shot earlier. So I'm thinking, gosh, if I could, I would be like, at that moment, let me just walk past Salvokop. I think someone who now moved in Salvokop, maybe let's even say 10 years ago, right? And you take him like back to 96 or 98. Man,
it would be a different memory for them.
Wouldn't even see a shack.
I thought they weren't even in a shack.
When I was even speaking to Oscar, I could even see through, like,
exactly.
You could see through from, if you like, this is 4th Avenue. You could see, okay,
right
across from Third, reach until 1st Avenue.
Yeah, but now you can't
only
see
trees made it, kind of difficult. It was only trees. It wasn't the shacks. It was only trees. But now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, like, this place is not what it used to be. I mean, even now, even if you can look, there isn't much activities for kids.
Yeah.
They'd rather be with older people.
Yeah.
And man, most of our adults here, besides the unemployment, but then most of them, it's either you drink or you smoking. One of the two.
Between the two. Ne?
And it's actually a bad influence on these kids,
Yeah.
And sometimes, when I look at it, it kind of feels sad. Because looking at how we grew up and how it is now for them, it's a different scenario. I mean, for us back then, for you to smoke, it was like, this guy is smoking. In public even.
Never.
But now it's like a joyride. I mean, every corner you turn to, every passage you go through, there's just this bunch of kids smoking.
I always see it's a collective failure for me. Like, everybody played their part to fail these kids.
Yeah.
Right. Including ourselves, because we also have a responsibility. Like, how is it possible that you can be given such knowledge and then not share it. You know, I always look, it's like, I hear people, they're pointing fingers, I don't understand these kids. How can you not understand them? You were once a kid, you were taught these things. Who the heck do you think is going to teach these kids? Like,
because it's our job.
Yeah, it's your job to do that. Like, who do you think is going to teach them? And you know, you hear that a lot. You know, I don't know what's wrong with this. I know exactly what's wrong with these kids. It's not difficult. It's not rocket science. It's very simple.
It's just a matter of sitting them down.
Yeah, dude, like, connect with these kids, man. Dude, like, sacrifice. You know, the problem is it's that selfishness, man. You know, just.
Yeah, and also the thing of, it's not my kid.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not.
But it's not like they're doing a great job with their kids either.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We need to change that narrative of it's not my kid. You know, I can't be. Because, you know, sometimes, you know, I'm also guilty of that because there's a time where I'd see kids playing in the streets and there are cars coming through. And I'd be like, hey, why don't you guys play on the pavement or go somewhere where it's safer?
Yeah.
Because back then, there used to be a time where kids would come to my yard and be like, hey, you guys are making noise.
Yeah.
But then now, it's easier for me. I'm changing that.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely. Where if I find kids playing in my yard, I just tell them, don't make a mess, play there.
You know, it's fine. I always chase them every time.
Yeah, no, I just let them.
I just always chase it. I never took it that way. I always chase them like, gosh. Like,
yeah, because for me now, it
particularly if you clean the yard, but you know, if you clean that, you have a different perspective of things. You're like, your kids. I mean, kids just want to have fun. They don't care. But the problem is they just don't clean up. So one time I tried it, and I kept on trying. I was like, if you're done playing clean up, they never do. So I was like,
well, with me,
bye-bye.
It's a different scenario.
Bye-bye.
If I know that they made a mess, I will actually go to their places and fetch them all. And then they come through.
I don't even do that. I think I'm a bit tense when it comes to kids. That's the weird thing about it. It's like, you know, I'm a bit tense.
I mean, sometimes kids bring that out.
I'm a bit tense.
Because I also have a tendency of just getting pissed.
Yeah, just...
You know, sometimes, you know, when... Because normally, I'd be the one running to the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then there are times... Here comes this annoying kid.
But I'll give you credit. Out of the peers that I know, I mean, you're the only one who... Okay, a few who volunteered and said, you know what? I'm going back to pen and I'm gonna play a part. I couldn't even do it. And I could have. It's not like I had things to do.
Yeah, but
a lot of things to do at that time. I could have done it, but the fact that you continuously went, I could see you, right? Yeah, and know when someone does like good, but I won't lie, it has that
effect.
That reflection like on yourself, like what are you doing? You know, this guy is helping kids. Which kids are you helping? Like, you know.
Yeah, and for me, I was grateful for that opportunity because even after I left, I'm still doing it even in a church.
Yeah.
As much as I don't go as oftenly as I want to, but I still play a part. You know, I still meet up these kids. You know, just even last week, I saw these other two boys that used to be a part of that group.
Yeah.
And they were there with me at this soccer match. And then, whilst I was in my goal post, when I turned around, I'm like, why is this kid trying to guess my name? And then when I turned around, I'm like, no, man, I know these kids. I used to teach these kids. And you know, it's always a good thing when these kids remember you. Be like, hey, you say, hey, you remember?
Yeah.
Hey, you are always cracking jokes, you know. And you used to teach us this, and that. You know, it's always good to see kids getting off the street, doing something, and listening to what you say, you know. And for me, I'm proud of that.
Yeah. Because
it was never for the money. Because, you know, a lot of our peers, when you tell them about volunteering, they be like, come, volunteer.
And I'm one of them. I won't lie, I'm one of them.
I mean, what money am I going to be getting? You know? And this has always been a thing about me. I've always been told that, you know, your good heart or your good deeds, you know, they're going to be taken advantage of. And funny enough, a lot of people have taken advantage of my goodness. And not to necessarily say I haven't done that too. But for me, doing things out of genuineness is is a natural thing for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't pretend. If I'm helping you, I'm helping you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm one of those people that I could be chilling here and you'd call me, hey, but I need help with something. I'd actually leave the people that I'm with and go help you. And you know, sometimes people will be like, hey man, why are you doing this? You can actually tell that person to actually tell so-and-so to help them.
Yeah.
But it's just the thing for me. If I want to help somebody with something, I get up and go there. I don't like that thing of having to call somebody else to help you with something. I'd rather do it myself.
Yeah, I've seen that myself, actually. The way you give time to someone is impressive. Yeah. You know, the effort, I mean, the length sometimes you even go through. Because, you know, when I want, maybe I'm asking for something. Sometimes you go that extra mile.
Yeah.
Plus I can, and I'm like, I didn't even think about that. So sometimes you even want to tell him, you know what, I think it's done enough. I think, you know, I think he's done enough.
But the thing is, you know, when I help, I just want to keep going.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I learned from my parents, you know. Like, back then when I was still at home before I came to Pretoria, you know, I'd see my mom, you know, doing things for other people. You know, there'd be a time where, you know, there's sugar in the house, but then you can see this sugar is not about to last. Because these neighbors keep coming, man.
Joe, like...
And I'm looking at my mom, I'm like, what is this woman
I can
doing?
relate. I don't know. Like...
Yeah, like...
We saga.
You know, and she would buy all this baking stuff, you know, she'd make all these cookies. And I'm like, but why is our batch small? Where are the rest of these cookies going to? You know, funny enough, like, I'm not really, I wouldn't say I'm from a rich family.
Yeah.
You know, but...
Would well off be a correct term?
Yeah, well off, actually, yeah. But then, I'd say with my parents, it was that thing of, they were just getting by.
Yeah.
You know, but the impact that they had in the community, you know, I think that's what inspired me to actually be the person that I am, you know, that person that goes the extra mile to help. Like, even if you tell me something, like a simple thing, like most people, when they come to me, they'll be like, hey Joe, can you move?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'd get irritated. Like, I just feel like, okay, let me just give this person the website.
You've given me that attitude. I know exactly what you're talking about. You've given me that attitude.
Yeah, sometimes I do. But at most, even if I tell you that, I'm still gonna download the movie you want. Because that's just me. I'm used to that thing of, okay, let me just get this person this. Like, even if I come after a week or so, but the fact of the matter is I'm still gonna do it. And yeah, we like going back, you know, with the whole volunteering and the kids, you know.
Yeah.
Even to this day, you know, I still do it, you know. Like, even Momokasi, you know, like, even when I'm passing through the street, you know, I'd find kids talking to me. I'm like, I don't know who this kid is. But somehow this kid just wants to talk to me.
You know what's hard, particularly today? Back then, if you did something wrong, and then a certain adult would whip you or do something, you'd never come back and tell your parents. But that's the end of it. If anything, in fact, you want it to end there. You don't want it to reach your parents, because you know the first question will ask, what did you do?
What did you do? Because there's no ways an adult
would just randomly get up and start hitting you. So what did you do for him to do that?
Exactly.
And today, that is, I don't see none of that. Like, and same time, it's that defensive thing. Like, it's not your child. Don't touch. Don't do anything, and stuff like that. I mean, it's as though they're just waiting for you. And the thing about a child is, as though there's this kind of belief, like a child is always innocent. You know that kind of mindset.
Like, my child wouldn't do this.
Like my child wouldn't.
I know them better.
You know, the most weirdest thing is, what I've learned is, man, if you have a conversations with these parents, and especially young parents now, right? Do they complain about their kids, man? Yo, my child doesn't listen. My child does this. But somehow when the child does wrong, all of a sudden, there's this oblivion, kind of
this
mindset.
defense mechanism.
Yeah, like I don't remember him doing this. So why would you? I'm like, you know what? So the best thing is just deal with your child.
Exactly.
Yeah, like don't stop putting them. Like no adult, even to this day, I don't know any adult that goes around and hitting kids. That one, I really, I haven't seen it. I'm yet to see it, but I'm serious. I haven't seen an adult randomly just whip a child for no reason.
I mean,
they're not made like that. It doesn't matter which one it is. Nobody does that. And the child has to have done something, right? And to whip a child, to discipline a child in that sense, right, has become taboo. Like, you don't do that. And I wonder then, you know what's the weird thing I'm always thinking is, okay, not always is, how do you then like fix the problems of society? So here you are, right? You're teaching this child fantasy. I'm calling it fantasy because it's not reality.
It's not reality.
Yeah, right. You're gonna teach this child there's nothing you do wrong if an adult just does this. And here's the worst mindset that, I mean, is it a phrase or a term or whatever it may be, but a saying? No matter what, you have no right to hit a child. You see that? That already blocks any explanation of why something happened.
And
right,
it also throws responsibility out the window.
Like, okay, man, like, what is a child exactly? Can you define a child for me? Explain the characteristics of a child like that. I can understand where it will never lead to that. Like, how good can this child be that he will never be disciplined? Like
they can't do this.
Yeah, they can't do that. Explain to me, right? And that's exactly, so the switch started happening where as though the kids started calling the shots. Slowly but surely, it's happening, right?
Because if you can
kids
look at it,
calling the shots. Adults are no longer adults. They don't even see themselves,
Yeah, and interestingly, I had a conversation with this girl that I was exercising with and jogging with, and she says that you can't be hitting a child. It's 2021. And I'm like, but then how are you going to teach your child responsibility? Because even if you can look at it from a biblical perspective, it says the one who spares the rod on the child spoils the child.
In fact, another one says, if you don't even love him. That's, for it to say that, it means, there's something wrong that you're doing.
Because
there's something wrong.
Imagine now, your child hits another child with a brick. And you'll be like, no, that child must have done something to him. But then it doesn't excuse what the child did. Because you need to teach that child at the end of the day. And the thing is, we as parents, we no longer have that responsibility in us. Like, we become irresponsible that we now want to be best friends with our kids.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem is. We don't draw the line.
So imagine your parents go to work, right?
Yeah.
For many years. There's not much conversation at home. I mean, things are different. Your mother is no longer at home mostly. She's also working, right? Society has changed. Right? So as time goes, school and TV kind of become your parents, right? Because that's what you're seeing every day. That's what you... And music, of course, right? So as time goes, this thing is built in you, right? This thing is built in you, and you're not aware that you're feeding your mind.
Feeding the mind.
Right? It goes on. And you fast forward, after so many years, look at us now, right? Here's a kid. Your way of actually disciplining a kid is from a movie, right?
I don't know if I should.
Hell no, bro.
All right.
What's up with you?
Oh, my bad.
Is someone dying? What's up? What's happening?
No. I'm sure she just.
So what's the
know.
problem?
No, I'm sure she wants to know what time I'm coming back, but that's not the issue.
Oh, you that guy. Okay. But I was saying before I was rudely interrupted.
My bad.
Yeah. So you get to that point, right? And you're not picking up on these things. Remember, it's been happening. As I said, your teacher now has become a movie that you once watched, right?
Yeah.
Where this movie constantly teaches you that the child is always right.
It's always right.
Cater to the child, and you cater to the child the wrong way, right? Because remember, as you said, you're supposed to teach the child. The child is not born knowing.
No child
is born knowing. That's why you are there. You know, you make sure that, listen, you avoid these certain mistakes that I've made. That's why I'm going to make sure you avoid them and do. Not that I'm going to listen to everything you say and all that.
Yeah.
Right? That's a long story of saying, how then do you, as I said, have a say in someone else's child like before? Because now apparently, as I said, this is not your child, right? And if you really do ask people, why can't you hit a child? It's wrong. That's not an answer. Why? Like, really, why is it wrong? Like, answer me. Why? What will it do to the child? No, it hurts. That's still not valid enough. What will happen to the child? Like, I can explain if I hit the child what will happen. I can really break it down and tell you this. Okay, this is what happens when I hit the child. This is what happens when I discipline the child, right? But for you, like, if you don't, like, tell me a positive thing. If you don't, what happens? You know, I saw this clip of Dr. Phil.
Mm-hmm.
So Dr. Phil is telling this woman that she shouldn't hit her child because it's like, you're confusing the child. That's what Dr. Phil is saying. Now, Dr. Phil's argument is that this child, the reason being is that you cannot say you love a child. To him, the child is like, oh, you love him. Right? Mm-hmm. And then suddenly you hit him. He's like, so you're confusing the child. How can you say you love me, but then you hit me? Then you love me, but then you hit me. It's like, can you see what you're doing to the child? You're confusing the child. You know, I'm like, is that what they teach you in psychology? Is that what you, all those years, is that? Because to me, that's indoctrination. It doesn't make sense. What do you mean? I mean, what you're saying is incomplete.
I mean,
no parent just gets up and hits the child. Like, what would give you that idea? Like, you're confusing the child as to if I'm hit. The child knows exactly why he's getting a beating. Like, what do you mean?
Like,
you're confusing the child. Yeah, I stole something. Like, so what do you mean you're confusing the child? Like, what that doesn't. The only thing the child gets, because everyone has been a child, is my mother doesn't like that. I shouldn't do that.
Exactly.
No, John, no child that I know that grew up actually had that belief my child doesn't love me. It's now indoctrinated in them later that the reason why your parents is hitting me because they don't love. That's why they say that. It's not that they believe. No child automatically thinks my parents don't love me. It doesn't make any sense,
exactly.
Right? If that were true, people that got whippings back then would say the same thing. I don't think my father loved me because he whipped me. I don't hear none of that because nobody believes that. And the older you get, and here's the thing, right? The problem is, man, some lessons take years. That's how it is. It's such as telling a child at a certain period, you're not allowed to drink. You're not allowed to smoke. He doesn't get it. Everybody he wants to sneak out and do.
It's
right. It's years because his friends are doing it. They've been doing it maybe for 3 years. And then when he's matured enough, I see why they didn't.
Oh.
I didn't get it then. I see now.
I mean, I've seen it with myself too, you know. Yeah. It was always a thing of, I used to see my brothers going out at night. So I wondered, I got curious. Why are these guys going out at night? What is it about this nightlife? And, you know, my sisters would constantly tell me, you shouldn't be going out at night. And trust me, I could have lost my life a long time ago, you know.
Ja.
To think about all the things that I've been through because of sneaking out. I mean, I got dragged. I got robbed at gunpoint. You know, all because of this nightlife.
Yeah.
And because of this curiosity of, man, what do they know?
Yeah.
Because as a child, I thought I knew better than them. So there was always that thing of, man, they can't tell me what to do. Why shouldn't I go out? Everybody's doing it. My peers are there. They're doing it. They're going out and doing all this stuff. Why can't I? You know? And because I lacked discipline back then as compared to now. I just wanted to do. And as you said, some lessons take years. And for me, I'm just glad that before I even went out of high school, those lessons became a manifestation, And thank God for the friends that I have, and my surroundings. Because I don't know where I would be. I mean, look at most of the people that I used to party with.
Yeah.
Some of them now are selling their bodies. Some of them, they're criminals. Some of them are drug dealers. I could have been one of those people had it not been for those lessons, And as I've said, I'm really grateful for that. And that's why it's important as parents, to teach our kids how to be responsible, and to not just defend our kids on everything. Yes, I get it. Sometimes, some kids, they like escalating things, but that's how kids are. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't be teaching them that, it's okay to bully. No, it's not okay. We should teach them, no, you can't bully other kids because this is what happens. As you said, you can't say you love your child and not discipline your child. Then what are you teaching them? Because if you can look at it, if a child is always spoiled, what do you think is going to happen the day you say no? Because he's just used to getting his way or her way.
Worst of all, he takes that out there. And out there,
it's a difference.
The world is not your mother. Exactly. It's harsher. That's why you find a child, maybe he's dead somewhere, he's locked up somewhere, because the world is not as forgiving as your parents. And parents miss that. They think they can always, have a say. Yeah, what I mean is a say is like, no, get my child out of there, he did nothing. No, man. Like if your child is suspected of a really serious criminal activity, then you know what?
That
there's
should
nothing
be
you
an
can
eye-opener.
do. Yeah, that you see, there's nothing you can do. And as I was saying, I'm not sure if I did complete that saying. This thing where the fantasy of the kids, as I was saying, is so for this period, as I said, no discipline, no nothing. Like a child, I don't know why a child is that innocent. There's nothing wrong that he can do, and then somewhere you just switch that up.
Yeah.
And then the child, now this young adult is supposed to just adapt to that, like randomly, right? He hasn't been taught that all those years, and somehow, because now you said the world works like this, he's just supposed to adapt. No, he won't.
Yeah.
Look at how many people are that are depressed today. I mean, the suicide rate is it's the highest it's ever been. That's not a random thing.
It's not a random thing.
It's not a random thing. They grew up so spoiled, soft, right? And now they realize the world is this harsh. You cannot just take. You cannot just have. And then all of it, they just can't take. They're not used to that. They're so used to. And this time, mama can't give you anything.
Exactly.
Papa can't give you anything, right? This is the reality.
Because now you're in this reality.
This is the reality where, you know what? You're not going to get this. It's not going to go this way. Yeah. This is why I'm also against even kids dating at a young age. I feel like there should be a lot of activities that keep those kids out of those things. And there's so much time to do that, right? Yeah. I don't think a child should be involved. Dude, that thing messes up anyone. I mean, look at how old you are, and this thing still messes up our lives. Look how old our parents are, and that thing still messes up. Like, this is a serious thing. How can you just say, child, do that? Like, how careless of an adult are you?
Because when you look at it in this sense of, no, these kids are supposed to know these things. What are they supposed to know? I mean, shouldn't this child just be a child?
It should be a child.
It should be a child. And why should you be teaching a child that this is how you kiss, this is how you hug?
How is that? My question is always this hypocrisy. Like, okay, but how is that gonna help society? Like,
exactly.
If you just teach me how to kiss, how is that gonna help society? Aren't you supposed to teach me something more valuable, like particularly how to be a human, right? How I should treat others. Shouldn't that be the main priority above? Like, this is how you love your neighbor as yourself. Like, shouldn't that be the priority? That's what I'm saying. There's these teachings, man, that we mess up these kids like big time, and we've been messed up too. But by God's grace, He intervened, right? And we made a choice like, you know what, I'm going for what the Lord says, other than what the world says. But the world has this thing, and then suddenly, as I said, supposed to just switch randomly. A child's supposed to just switch, right? You see, a child is taught, and this is one of the problems again, right? Why does the government have the right to punish, but parents don't? It boggles me. Why is then the government so sweet? Well, what makes the government okay? Remember, there's laws, right?
Yes.
Don't steal.
Don't.
You can get arrested, right? It's a crime. There's crime. They are put there, right? And the consequences of that. But somehow, somehow, you as a parent, you shouldn't have those kind of things in your household or something. Don't touch the child, don't do anything, we'll deal. And that's the thing, is people don't see how wrong that is. Like, what gives the government the right to lock up people, do all these things, but then parents cannot discipline their kids?
I mean, if you hit a kid
if you hit the kid, like, it's government has been given too much power, man. I won't lie.
Exactly.
It has been given too much power that it shouldn't even have.
I mean, look at it now. If you discipline a child, suddenly there's social workers. No, this child needs you to talk to them. I mean,
dude, like
we understand. There's a time to speak to a child.
Yeah.
You understand? That's where we need to, like I said before, we need to draw the line.
Yeah.
Your child is your child. As a skim sahau.
Yeah.
It's your child.
As brow.
You understand? And remember back in Penn when we had this conversation where they were asking, do you act the same manner you do with your friends as you do with your parents? And remember that there was one individual that said,
I remember that.
The same things I do with my friends. I mean, no ways.
Bro, that's impossible.
That's impossible. And that's the thing with this whole rules of and all these things, this government and their rules.
Yeah.
Like you can see that they just don't align. You know, they always contradict. I mean, you talk to your child. You talk to your child, and then what happens?
What really happens? As I said, it goes back to, man, there are certain lessons. I don't care who you are. There are certain lessons that just have to take. They take years because the child has not developed that complexity, right? That complexity of reasoning, where you can really reason and see. Okay, now I see what he's saying. He's too young. He lacks the experience on top of that. So at this point, that's why when it comes to the Lord, you'll find that out a lot when the Lord says, trust me, because He understands that certain things you'll never see, not anytime soon. I mean, think about Israel. The Lord takes Israel out of Egypt. 40 years, bro, like 40 whole years in the wilderness.
In the wilderness.
40 years, trying to teach them something. To find, even when they get there, they still don't get it. 40 years. And these things take time, right? And we're talking about adults now. The Lord is trying to show adults something
now
because it takes time. And all they needed to do is trust the Lord. It says you cannot. There is no way you can please the Lord without faith. And it also, and since the Lord is what's this word I'm looking for? Is mostly described as a father, right?
Yeah.
The character falls back again on the father. So as a child, you just have to trust your parents. That's just how it is. You don't expect to see everything. And that's the problem when you say sit down and talk. Say what? What am I going to speak that will really make sense to this child other than trust me? Right? Trust me. I mean, they can't even teach kids patience. And it was like, no, I'm not getting it, so he's wrong. I'm just going to... No, man. No. Trust your father. If you trust your parents that they won't hurt you, then you can trust them enough to say, you know what, it looks like this thing is serious. I might not get it, but I'm not going to do it because clearly Yeah, this is serious. I know what's happening here. This is serious. That's it. You don't need to explain because there's no. How can I make an example? Can you really explain to a 3-year-old why he shouldn't eat sweets at night? And it will make sense to him. Riley will sit down and be like, "Oh, so my teeth. Oh, okay. Gosh, I really didn't see that. Will it really?
No.
Will it really make sense to a 3-year-old? Can you really? He reasons that way, like, oh, I see now. It makes all the sense. Will it? No.
This is where he's gonna reason the way a child should.
The child should reason. I want this,
and that's where the teaching as a parent comes in.
Where you just take it, whether he likes it or not. That force comes. You know what? You're just not gonna do this, whether you like it or not.
We sometimes have this thing of thinking that when we say no to the child, we hurt their feelings. It's not about the child. It's not about the child's feelings. It's about teaching the child right and wrong, and teaching them that when you do certain things, they have this kind of effect or consequences. You understand? Because imagine now the child is eating sweets all the time. And what most people don't know is that too much sugar actually disturbs the mind. When I say disturb the mind, I'm talking in a sense of you don't become productive.
Yeah, and get the sugar clogs up the blood vessels and so forth. It clogs them.
And that's the purpose of sugar. That's what it does. It does. As sweet and as nice as it is,
there are kids who even grew up with that thing and now they are diabetic because of that. Imagine a child, a young adult who's living off those pills, because that's the seriousness of sugar, right? And it goes, can you really explain that to a child and it will make sense? That's what I'm saying. Can you really explain to a 5-year-old and say, you'll have diabetes if you don't stop this?
And at that moment,
a
5-year-old doesn't know
what the heck are you talking about? Right? Well, what the heck are you talking about? Can it make sense really to a child? And that's the problem. And I'm going to go back to this, bruh. It's the movies, man. These movies have this thing. Have you ever watched this movie of this child who's never disciplined? And somehow the only way to really help this child is to try and connect. This Hollywood mindset where the adult has to get into the mindset of a child and without offending the child somehow. This fantasy thing where always, I've seen it in I don't know how many movies. Always, child is so rude. This guy's always calm. He's that smooth guy. He's gonna try and win this child, and then somehow he wins this child. That's not real life.
That's not real life.
Yeah, that's not real life. And I don't understand why you should look up to Hollywood. Look at Hollywood. Why would you look up to such a place? It has it's a mess up place. Where are the morals, honestly, in Hollywood? Why would you look up? But then that's what happens, is that they've become our teachers in most cases. That's why we reason like that. And I say, it's a subconscious thing. That's why you always, I don't want to offend this child. I don't want to offend
the
something.
Truth
I'm like, dude, which world have you been where you want to offend anyone? Where do you think the birth of cancel culture comes from? It comes from that generation that was spoiled, exactly like that,
And that's the narrative we need to change.
Yeah, you know what? If you're afraid, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna deal with you. I'm gonna do this. You know what? I'm gonna erase you.
Yeah, like, you know what? This guy thinks he can do this to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna show him.
Or he thinks he can talk to me like that. What?
Like, what's the context? Like, what happened? Some people who get offended when you ask. I'll make an example. Let's say there's a guy who slaps a woman. Okay, what happened? You still want to ask? I want to ask so we can avoid this next time. Want to know what happened? Like, we have to know. Otherwise, what if this thing will continuously happen if we don't talk? Yeah, we need to know what happened. No matter what, and this thing I was telling you about, no matter what, you should never hit a woman. I don't know, man. There's just too much arrogance behind that statement. She's a human being. He's a human being. We need to know what happened, even to avoid that from happening again. What happened?
Exactly.
Yeah. Because no matter what, as I said,
sitting together.
Because I told you, no matter what, man, just closes the potential, of solving it? Because now obviously he said no matter, so we won't listen to your story. No, we don't want you just guilty. Like no.
And there needs to be responsibility from both sides. Because yes, as much as the woman can be the victim and the man the perpetrator.
Yeah.
We also need to understand where this stems from.
Yeah.
You understand? And what is it that this woman does or did that triggered that? Because, sometimes people go through these traumatic things, and it's not to excuse that. That, no, it's okay to hit someone. It doesn't matter whether it be a man hitting another man or a man hitting a woman or a woman hitting another woman.
We don't have to get there.
You understand? But we need to understand, why is this person doing this? And understanding brings solution. You understand? That's where we can actually start helping. Because now, when it becomes that thing of, oh, he hit me, and then now we are attacking the man. What is it? What is it that we're learning or teaching there? Because there's nothing that we're going to learn or teach if we're always attacking the perpetrator. I'm not saying let's sit down with the perpetrator and have cookies, tea and cookies there. No. We're not saying justice should not be served. What we're saying is, let justice be served, but then let there be a solution to that justice, so that this person can be actually helped, so that they do not do what they did again. Because now we're in the sense of, that guy, man, that guy is lame. Why would you hit a woman?
Why would you hit a woman? And as I said, that just takes away everything. Like, guys, do you know how many women get hit? You'd be surprised. And it continues because there's one of the other things I'm noticing is exactly that, the lack of talking, right? The lack of talking about things. As I said, just automatically labeling. And there's too much labeling lately. I don't know what's up. Yeah. Everyone has this name, woman beater, what. Man, like...
Let's stop with the labeling.
Let's stop with let's have a conversation, right? Because between me and you, we know nobody's innocent. It doesn't matter how it ended up, but the truth is no one is innocent. So we need to find out, okay, what happened? What did you do that led to this, right? What did you do that led to this, and what did you also do? Okay. Because in any situation, I won't lie, like any situation,
because there's no way.
If there's a fight, there's only an apology is needed. You need to apologize. I need to. There's no such thing as there's only one person.
Yeah,
it's a rare case
because he's the one that started. He's the one who should apologize.
No. Oh, I can't apologize. I can't apologize because he hit me. No, you need to also apologize actually for calling him such names. You should apologize for actually spitting on his face. Because actually women get brutal, bro. You know that. They really get brutal. And they get, as I said, they use that advantage. And it's a human thing. It's not a woman. It's a human. Yeah. If you can get away with something, you do abuse it. That's just how it is. You get it? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. They for someone to stick on that mindset, okay, no matter what, you should never hit a woman. Obviously, someone is listening. Oh, so I have a pass. Okay. And then I'm going to push him. I've seen women know how to push a man. Yeah. I mean, they will push you, bro. And you point you with the finger. I mean, they will push you. And some of them even go as far as also hitting the guy first. And that's the worst thing is like, guys, are you not going to talk about that? Like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. How are we going to solve? Yeah, like how? That's what I'm saying. This thing will always escalate. It will always, because you don't want to talk about it. You think somehow by making them feel bad, they'll stop that. That will never happen because you're not there. Nobody's watching. When people tend to be in a conflict, and then it happens, it escalates, things always go bad. They tend to always go bad. But if you don't want to talk about the honesty, particularly on the woman part, or when the woman part as to how it led, because now you cannot just look at the guy, guys, you have to just talk about it. If you don't want it to happen, let's talk about it. But this thing of no matter what, it's not helping. Yeah.
And another sad thing is, we come across most of these women that are in these relationships, and I'm talking from my personal point, because I do know of a couple of girls that are in abusive relationships. And I always ask them, why don't you leave? Like, no, the guy should leave. And I always tell them, you're not helping the situation if you stay. Because when someone is a perpetrator, the more you stay with them, you enable them. And that's what most people don't get. The more you stay with the perpetrator, the more you enable the perpetrator. Because he or she is going to feel that, oh, I actually have power over this person. Because now they don't want to go. It means they love this. And the thing is, with most people that are victims, they always have this thing of, if I leave here and go back home, what are people going to say?
Yeah, you're right.
You understand? And I've seen it with most women where they stay in this abusive relationship, and especially when there's kids involved.
Yeah.
They don't understand that they damage in the psychological thinking and being of the child. Because the longer you stay and the longer that child sees that, they're kind of thinking, oh, so this is how you actually treat your partner. You understand? And when I told this person, you should actually just leave. She's like, no, he should leave. Because he's the one cheating, he's the one doing this and putting hands on me. But I'm like, what are you helping yourself with there? Because that is damaging the child. And I think women also need to take that responsibility to actually listen. You know, you gotta leave. Stop with this thing of Mosaru Sorati Pakabahal. What is the point of doing all that? What is the point of staying through all these hardships just so that your kids can have this soft life or whatever? But yet, psychologically, they're damaged.
And you do know most that every marriage has its challenges, but when it comes to an abusive one, there's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
You're not gonna call it a marriage where every day this guy is really like making you a punching bag. Like, what kind of? There's no love there.
I mean, you can't stay with somebody that
doesn't respect you. I mean, literally, this guy keeps on hitting you over and over again for small. And the worst thing is, it's the way it starts. You are right. Adding to what you said. He's comfortable, right? And he thinks he has you right here by the palm of his hands, right? He's like, you see, it's no longer even a love thing. It's she can't leave me. That's why mostly the guys that usually get left by these women, they don't believe it. Because they keep tormenting, going after the woman, trying to make things work, and the woman's like, bruh, I'm done. And they can't accept it because in their head, they had this mindset that I have her by the palm of my hand. She's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's what we need to change in terms of women. You know, we can talk about the men's side all day, but then we should also focus on the women who are victims.
And now we're talking about the victims. Remember, the first one, we're talking about a situation, right?
Yeah.
Not really the matter in terms of this abusive man, but we're talking about the context where if you just see someone, you cannot automatically assume that, you know, since he hit somebody, he's guilty
an abuser or
what. Yes, there's something that needs to be done, but then afterwards we need to find out what happened. We need the whole story. And it's something people don't get also at courtrooms is that it's like, but guys, it doesn't matter, man. Once, if the courtroom were to skip that process, then the justice system is broken even worse, because now it means anyone can just accuse anyone. He hit me, arrest him. Hit me, do this.
Because we
just need to find out what happened. It doesn't matter how you feel about it, right? Because one day someone is going to accuse you of something you didn't do, and then now how will you feel when someone just wants to throw you in there and be like, you see? But going back to the abusive, particularly domestic violence, right? Is that, Joe, most of the cases, it's your everyday people. Like, it's your everyday people. You know, when you usually find out so-and-so has actually been hitting his woman, like, really, that guy?
Yeah.
And it's weird, it's never the ones you suspect.
Don't know.
Yeah. It's always someone you think, this guy looks cool, you know, he doesn't bother anyone. But when he gets there...
I mean, like, you know what's sad? You know, I remember this one evening, like I could hear this couple arguing. And then the guy slapped the woman. And then these guys that were driving by started attacking the guy. But before he was attacked, what disturbed me about that whole situation was the woman. Whilst arguing, she says, hit me, because you're used to it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do women have to let it go that far? Why does it always have to get that far? Where you are taking this abuse? Because once this guy abuses you, he buys you this, and then everything is back to normal. Why are women doing that to themselves? Like you know, like there's this statement that I once read that why is it easy for women to leave a man without money, but not easy to leave an abusive relationship?
I'm sure there's a lot of psychology happening, that's for sure.
And I get it that, you know, sometimes as humans, we tend to see the good in a person.
Yeah.
But is seeing goodness in a person worth that hand every day of your life? Is it worth it for your children? Is it worth staying for? Because that's what we need to be asking a lot of women.
You know, the most interesting thing is this. It's the honesty that's not there, right?
Yeah.
And what do I mean by that? And you can agree with me. You see this a lot, right? Women, in most cases, love to be the victim, right?
Yeah.
Men, there are a lot of good guys. I've seen them. They pursue a woman like every time, but those women never give those guys a chance. They're in love with this image, the bad boy image, right?
Yeah.
They know this guy is not good for them, but they're gonna go, right? They're gonna go. And once they're in there, right? Once they're in there, now all of a sudden, you know, he wasn't like this. No. He was like this. He just wasn't like this to you. You thought you were the special person that was gonna get the special treatment, which he's been showing. And you knew, of course, you wouldn't do that. But trust me, somewhere you're gonna get to that point where to him you'll be just like everybody else. And the same way he's been treating everybody else, he's gonna treat you that way. There's nothing special about you. And that's the problem, is that they have this kind of mindset where they are more special. They believe in this. They believe in this Beauty and the Beast thing where I'm this woman who's gonna change this guy. You're not gonna change that guy. This is real life. This is your life.
You're like the 90%. You're like the rest.
Yeah, you're like the rest. The rest. There's nothing special. He's matter of time. It sometimes even happens quicker than you think. 2 months in a relationship with this guy and already he's raising his hands. What did you think? He does that to everyone. What's special about? Why wouldn't he do that to you? Right? And that's the problem. But then when they tell their story, they never want to say that part. No, I found him like this. He bought me this. He taught me that. Yeah, but did you know who he was before? How he was treating other people? All right? Why can't you admit that you love that bad boy image, but you didn't want that to happen? Now all of a sudden, when it's happening to you, he becomes this worst guy, and the world needs to know that. No, that's not that. That's,
and we need to stop ignoring such things.
Yeah, that is not moreover fair, and that is not honesty. You should be honest with yourself. That is why I won't lie, most women fall to that because they really have this Beauty and the Beast mindset where I'm gonna change this guy. You're not gonna change this guy, bro. Right? No, you won't. Yeah. You won't change this guy. And they need to accept that. And it also goes back to that, what I was saying is, we need to be examples to these kids.
Yeah.
They need to have better goals, right? Boys need to make sure, you know what, I have this kind of goal, right? And for a wife, I want this kind of wife, right? And girls need to have the very same. Yeah. For women, it's very same. They need to, especially you see this swagger bad boy, they need to throw that away. It's not. It's exactly why around the world, even it's not just happening here, but around the world, you get this single parents because that's exactly it.
Because of that
image they were chasing. They didn't care about the characteristics. They didn't care about as I said, trust me, there's always this good guy. He's not far. I won't
That's
swear.
it.
He is, and she knows right here. What he's saying, let me enjoy myself first. I'm coming. You just wait. So she goes, gives this guy a couple of kids, abusive relationship, comes back, now he wants to come back to this guy. Guess what? The guy is married, has kids, happily, and now you want to interrupt.
Yeah.
Now you want to
that for?
interrupt. No, now you want to, hey, I messed up. Yeah, you did.
You did.
You did. You cannot always chase the
And
bad
that's
boy.
reality.
Yeah, that's reality.
It's not you
Yeah.
meeting this guy, and then suddenly,
Yeah, it's the
happily ever
reality.
after.
Yeah. So this Beauty and the Beast thing really, man, it's really getting this girl. So, as I said, they need role models. They need parents, in fact. And nothing plays a bigger part than action. That's what I'm saying. You don't, if you are married, man, you cannot tell your kids, don't do this, but you're doing this, right? Don't do this. Like, show that you love your wife. Your kids see that, they want that. They'll want it because, I this is wonderful. I've seen it. You get it.
It's an amazing
It's
thing.
an amazing thing. It works. That's what they're supposed to see. And the girl suddenly has those values where, you know what? Why would I'm not going to sit here while this guy is speaking to me like this. Nah, bruh. Born.
Yeah.
It's not going to do.
This is not how you're going to treat
This is not
me.
how you're going to treat me, right?
And it should be the same with
And it
men
should
too.
be even the same with men. I'm not like, I don't want this kind of woman.
I mean, if somebody
want
talks
this
to
kind of
you
woman.
in a way that you don't like, tell them.
tell them, no.
If things still don't change, leave. There's no shame in leaving a relationship.
Especially if someone is not your husband or wife, right? You can
Exactly.
start over anytime.
If you're not treated right, just leave. There's no need to stay because he's taking you to wherever.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said before, if it's not worth the hand or the verbal abuse, whatever the abuse may be, if it's not worth it, leave. Stop staying because there's certain benefits that you're benefiting or because there's a kid involved. You need to take away your child from that type of environment because it becomes toxic at the end of the day. And when you stay in something toxic, the child becomes toxic too. And they start thinking that whatever is happening at home is right. And they take that into society. And as you said, society is not your home. Society is a different environment. Society is harsh. The world is harsh. It might seem beautiful on the outside, but inside, it's a different scenario.
It's not so forgiving either.
And that's the truth as it is.
Yeah, man, it was really nice having you. You're going to be a regular, actually. Yeah. Because we need to touch on certain topics. We really need to touch on them. You're the guy to speak to anyway, so yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to make sure. Kenes, come through. Come through.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely come through. You know me.
Yeah,
You just tell me, I come.
Good looking out. Good looking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Nah, thanks, man.
All right. Peace out.
Yeah, sharp.